Real strength often reveals itself in the most unexpected moments. What begins as a luxurious first-class flight transforms into an unforgettable journey of self-reflection and personal change when Nathan Kessler's arrogance collides head-on with the unyielding poise of Pam Bondi. This is the story of a turning point, a moment when pride and contempt give way to humility and the awakening of true character. Nathan Kessler reclined comfortably in his coveted seat 3A on a Dallas to Tampa flight. Dressed in a sharply tailored suit and accessorized with an expensive watch and designer bag, he exuded the kind of confidence that only years of sealing multi-million-dollar deals could bring. The window seat provided him with an unobstructed view of the endless blue sky and drifting clouds, a reminder of the world that seemed to bend to his will. For Nathan, every aspect of first-class travel was a symbol of power and success, a stage where he could silently affirm his superiority. Inside the luxurious cabin, soft conversations mingled with the clink of champagne glasses, and passengers adjusted their designer belongings with practiced nonchalance. Nathan, however, was lost in his own world, scrolling through his phone, his mind busy recounting past conquests and future triumphs. He was used to commanding attention, to hearing admiring whispers from those around him. Yet, as the flight progressed, his attention was unexpectedly diverted. Several rows ahead, a blonde woman sat with quiet grace. Pam Bondi was absorbed in her iPad, her demeanor calm and unruffled. Unlike the flamboyant passengers around her, she exuded a subtle, almost imperceptible confidence. At first, Nathan dismissed her as just another pretty face in first class, a passenger whose identity he assumed was as shallow as the luxury she enjoyed. In his internal monologue, he scoffed, probably another woman who buys her class with money, maybe a reality TV reject or a socialite clinging to her last name. Unable to resist, he muttered sarcastic remarks under his breath, even nudging the man sitting next to him. "I bet she's had her third, maybe even fourth husband by now," he whispered with a smirk. "And probably has plastic surgeons on speed dial." Nearby passengers exchanged glances. Some stifled a laugh. Others looked on with disapproval. Yet Nathan, buoyed by his own arrogance, continued his commentary with unabashed confidence. As the flight climbed to cruising altitude, Nathan kept a close watch on Pam Bondi. He observed her as she politely handed her drink to a flight attendant, her smile gentle, her posture composed. Every time she remained engrossed in her iPad, utterly indifferent to his snide remarks, Nathan's irritation grew. His inner voice insisted that her unresponsiveness was a personal slight, a challenge to his superiority. "This is exactly what I thought," he mused. "She's too good for our kind of banter. It must be all about the money and the image." But as the hours passed, something shifted in the cabin's atmosphere. Nathan's confidence, so carefully constructed over the years, began to waver under the weight of Pam Bondi's quiet, unyielding presence. Her demeanor was not one of arrogance or dismissiveness. Rather, it was a steady, unperturbed calm that made it clear she was not interested in engaging in his petty banter. Instead of a reaction, no dismissive glance, no forced smile, she continued to focus on her device as if he were nothing more than background noise. By the time the seatbelt sign blinked off, Nathan's simmering irritation reached its boiling point. In a moment of impulsive bravado, he leaned forward from his seat and called out in a low, measured tone that nonetheless carried across the cabin. "Pam, is that really you? I swear I've seen you before." His voice, meant to be playful and provocative, hung in the air like a challenge. At that instant, Nathan's heart skipped a beat. The woman he had so casually dismissed was none other than Pam Bondi, a name synonymous with integrity, resilience, and a formidable track record in the legal and public sphere. Known for her unyielding dedication as a former Florida Attorney General, Pam's reputation for taking on powerful adversaries had earned her the respect of many. Now here she was, sitting just a few rows ahead, her expression composed and unreadable. For a long, charged moment, the cabin fell into a heavy silence. Nathan's eyes locked with Pam's, And in that silent exchange, her calm and measured gaze seemed to strip away every ounce of his arrogant facade. Pam offered him the faintest, knowing smile, one that conveyed both disappointment and a quiet assertion of her self-worth. In that look, Nathan realized that all his snide comments and petty judgments were reflected back at him, leaving him exposed and vulnerable. The rest of the flight passed in a reflective haze for Nathan. The once vibrant chatter of first-class luxury seemed to fade into the background as his inner turmoil took center stage. Every time he attempted to resume his stream of sarcastic thoughts, the memory of Pam Bondi's steady gaze stopped him in his tracks. Instead of the usual laughter and self-assured smirks, he sat in a heavy silence, the earlier bravado slowly melting away into introspection. Nathan's mind churned with questions he had never allowed himself to consider before. How had he become so wrapped up in his own self-importance that he could belittle someone without even knowing her true worth? The luxurious setting of the first-class cabin, once a playground for his ego, now seemed like a gilded cage that mocked his emptiness. As the plane soared among the clouds, Nathan began to reflect on the real meaning of power and respect. He recalled boardrooms where his words had been met with nods and applause, and he wondered whether those accolades truly measured character or were merely echoes of superficial charm. When the plane finally began its descent into Tampa, Nathan's inner revolution was undeniable. Stepping off the aircraft, he felt a profound shift, a weight lifted, as if the very act of confronting his own arrogance had begun to free him. Outside the bustling terminal, amidst the rush of passengers and the constant buzz of announcements, Nathan felt strangely isolated, as if he were carrying the heavy burden of his newfound self-awareness. Within hours of landing, the story of his exchange with Pam Bondi had already begun circulating on social media. Headlines buzzed with snippets of the encounter, some mocking his earlier arrogance, others praising Pam Bondi's dignified silence. In boardrooms and coffee shops alike, people discussed the incident, dissecting every moment of that brief yet potent interaction. Nathan's name, once synonymous with unshakable confidence, was now paired with introspection and even regret. Over the next few days, Nathan found himself in a state of quiet introspection. In his office, he couldn't ignore the subtle changes in his colleagues' attitudes. Conversations that once revolved around his grand achievements now shifted toward discussions of teamwork, humility, and integrity. Meetings that used to be dominated by his booming voice gradually became more collaborative as he began listening more and speaking less. Nathan realized that true respect was not earned by speaking the loudest or by flaunting success, but by acknowledging one's own flaws and striving for genuine self-improvement. Pam Bondi's impact extended far beyond that single flight. In subsequent media appearances, she was hailed as a symbol of quiet strength and unyielding dignity. Her calm, measured responses became a benchmark for what real leadership and authenticity looked like in a world increasingly obsessed with spectacle. Pam's silent rebuke had served as a mirror to Nathan, forcing him to confront the emptiness of his own arrogance. Nathan's transformation, though gradual, was profound. He began to engage in community outreach initiatives, dedicating time to mentoring young professionals and supporting charitable causes. His once self-aggrandizing speeches in boardrooms gave way to thoughtful discussions about accountability and growth. He even sought feedback from colleagues, something he had never done before, to learn how he could better serve his team and build a culture of mutual respect. Every step of his journey was marked by the silent but persistent lesson he had learned in that first-class cabin. That real power lies not in wealth or status, but in the quiet strength of one's character. On a crisp morning, a few weeks after the fateful flight, Nathan found himself standing before a group of emerging entrepreneurs at a leadership seminar. He spoke not with the usual bravado, but with a measured tone filled with genuine humility. "I used to think that being in control meant never showing weakness," he confessed, his eyes reflecting both remorse and resolve. "But the truth is, true strength comes from acknowledging our imperfections and learning from them. I had to face a moment of bitter truth, and it changed me. Today, I stand before you not as a man who has all the answers, but as someone committed to growth and to treating others with respect. The audience, many of whom had experienced similar moments of personal reckoning, listened intently. Nathan's story of transformation resonated deeply with them, a powerful reminder that every setback and every moment of public humiliation can become a catalyst for genuine change if we are willing to confront our own shortcomings. As Nathan continued on his journey, he made a promise to himself that he would never again allow arrogance to overshadow empathy, nor would he use his position to belittle others. The memory of that first-class flight, the echo of Pam Bondi's unwavering gaze, and the humbling realization of his own insignificance in the vast expanse of the sky remained with him as a constant reminder. True greatness is not measured by the power we wield, but by the respect we earn through our actions and our willingness to learn and grow. If this story resonates with you, remember, sometimes the most profound transformations begin in the unlikeliest of places. True strength is found not in the loud declarations of success, but in the quiet courage to confront our own flaws and rise above them. Nathan Kessler's unforgettable journey serves as a testament that real power lies in humility, authenticity, and the determination to become a better person, even when the whole world is watching.